Hey, BassGeek here, and once those bait fish leave the banks during early June, the bass follow. And if you're not locating these two things during that early summer transition, it can be brutally tough to stay on feeding bass. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to locate shad, bluegill, and shad and bluegill fry so you can stay on those bass that are feeding on that bait fish, while all other anglers are struggling during this time period. Geeks, as we get past spring, really truly spring, all the spawning is over. What happens in my neck of the woods is that those shad and those bluegill, well, they move out to deeper haunts, right? So does the bass. The bass move out there with them because they're out there to feed. Now, that's not all that happens, because after all the spawning is over and the shad have moved out, those spawner shad and those spawner bluegill, what happens is the shad and the gill fry hatch. Now, when they get a little bit bigger, they love to congregate in big schools. And you'll see this because you'll go driving by. Me and Mike, we'll drive by stick-ups, so standing timber, isolated standing timber, and we'll see just huge clouds with all kinds of bass around them. So there's two ways you can go about taking advantage of the two things that are happening here. So one, you're going to have to scope. You're going to have to get out there and you're going to have to follow those schools around that are feeding on those shad or feeding on those bluegill. The other, you can use your eyes. So you can go out and you can fish around that standing timber. You'll see the fry all the way up in the surface of the water. A lot of times you just have to be looking for it. They're going to be tiny little fish. And the types of areas you're going to look for are places where I call them incubators. They're going to be wood and rock together. They're going to be standing timber together out around deeper water. They're going to be boat docks, marinas, especially those black floating pontoon style marinas and docks, because those shad and those bluegill fry are going to congregate to those places, especially early on, that are a little bit warmer. And when they congregate out there, well, guess what? So will the bass. Now, whether you're scoping or whether you're out there fishing on visible cover and structure, a minnow bait is a great bait. And I tell you geeks this, even, I especially talk about it a ton about you pond guys who can throw that out there, especially as the summer comes along, and the thermocline in that pond is going to push those fish up shallow. A lot of times those fish are just going to suspend out there over those deeper areas, or those areas where they want to live, right? Out there near that deeper water or that log or that stump or that drop off. And they're just going to suspend up over top of it. So the great thing about that is that you can use a minnow in the middle of the summer and sometimes catch bass that you're absolutely not going to catch by fishing on the bottom, because there's no oxygen there. They're gone. And that's what's also going to happen on a lot of the lakes that I fish. Now, the Tennessee River lakes is going to be a little bit different, but you don't just have to scope. You can take that minnow and you can fish that visible cover, or you can fish that bank. We'll talk about retrieves a little bit later. And I'll tell you right now, we fished a minnow earlier this morning and they wouldn't touch it. Wouldn't come within a country mile of it. And you guys up north, you're going to be really excited about this. Is this little bait right here. Now, this is not just a marabou jig. Let's talk about it. So to take advantage of these bass, this is the bait that I'm talking about using. And you guys up north you are going to love this bait. They finally brought it out in a black. They hadn't had it. Now, believe it or not, they are sold out of marabou jigs. They make an incredible marabou jig. But this little hair jig right here is a combination of marabou and a feather jig. And you've seen us talk about it a whole lot in other videos, especially during the wintertime. But like I said earlier, when you're out here and you're either scoping, chasing these bass in open water that are pulled off, that are chasing those bluegill or chasing those shad that are out here in open water, those spawners, or you're really targeting cover, standing timber, grass, not grass mats, but, docks, marinas, that sort of stuff, bluff walls, where these fry, whether they be bluegill or whether they be shad, are going to seek shelter. They're going to group up. And this little bait right here, trust me, this lake that I'm on today, the minnow bait, we threw early and we threw often and we never took a bite. But this is a great follow-up and something that the bass really have not seen. And so, of course, we're talking about the spotlight shad. The spotlight shad, you geeks have seen us talk about this a ton. This is something that is always tied on in my boat, and you can use it a ton of different ways. You can use it with LiveScope and without LiveScope because it's got such an incredible, unique action. Now, what I was saying is they come in a lot of different colors, but they never come in this particular color. And you guys up north with those smallmouth, you're going to love this. Now, they come in a lot of different colors. I left my favorite color, which is kind of this smoke shad color for the shad here, but they come in some great colors. Now, you got perch. They come in this. This is bumblebee or those bluegill. This is your deal right here. You got some smallmouth or dirtier water, the Devastator is the color you need. And you can't go without a little bit of ratchet in your life. All right, let's get back in black right now. Let's talk about the sizes. You can see they come in several different sizes. These are tungsten heads, and what I love about them, they got the eyes glued on. So these come in several different sizes from 1/8 to 3/8. What I've got right here is the 1/4 ounce in the two blacks. And listen, I got these so early that I don't even have the packaging yet, but these are the 1/16. And my go-to size, this is the 1/8 this time of year. So what makes this different than a marabou jig or really any other hair or feather jig? Well, it is the marabou right here, and it's really thick and puffed up. So it holds that shad looking body. Well, when you put this in the water, the feathers actually collapse. So you get a minnow looking bait. So it's a very unique body style and a very unique action when you're bringing it through the water. It's a 2/0 hook on here, very good hook. And like I said, they've got the eyes and the 90-degree line tie. So the rod, reel, line setup that we're going to use for this, you've got to have a medium light. This is a medium light fast action. This is a Cashin. What I love about Cashin, they're made in the USA. Pretty much 100% Icon series. So this is an incredibly sensitive rod. Love these rods. We've got that team with a Lew's Custom Pro, one of my favorite reels by Lew's. What we've got is 10 to 20 pound braid, extremely smooth casting. One of my favorites is K9's Silk Braid. It's their JDM braid. You need to check that out. And we've got a leader about 5 to 7 foot of Pro 100, K9 Pro 100, got that in 8-pound test line. So let's talk about retrieves. And I know you northern guys know more about fishing a marabou jig than I do. There's going to be 3 ways I fish this. A, it's going to be just contouring the bank. I'm going to throw it out there and I'm just going to reel it back. Maybe shake it once in a while. That's, I think, the way most of you northern guys fish it. Let me know if that's kind of the standard way up there. For me, it's really a backup when I'm scoping in the post spawn and, in the summer for those bass that have moved out in open water. And basically, we're doing the same thing. We're throwing this jig out there. We've got a loop knot tied on it, which I would highly recommend. And we're just going to shake that thing because it's got some incredible pulse from the hair and from that feather on the back. Third, when it comes to you geeks that don't have LiveScope or you're on the bank, what you're going to want to do is you're going to contour the banks, but you're going to tight line it, right? So you're going to throw it out there and you're just going to shake it real nice and easy. You're just going to reel it. Now, if you're on the boat and you're throwing up on the bank, real simple. As I always say, if you touch the bottom, you're probably reeling too slow. If you never touch the bottom, you're probably reeling too fast. So change that up. Every once in a while you want to hit that bottom. Now, if you're on the bank, you're going to throw out there and you're going to remember the bank is going to contour up. So you may throw out there and keep your rod tip down, but as you're shaking, you're going to bring it up to a little bit higher. Maybe start reeling a little bit faster and shaking a little bit faster as you get it closer to you. All right, that's really the 3 retrieves. When it comes to hook set, it's the same thing as a spinning rod, man. I'm just hooking it straight up. I'm going to go ahead and reel down and get that rod tip down so they're not throwing that hook. It's a good solid hook, so they're not going to throw it very easily. Then I'm just going to get them to the boat. I'm going to get that net. That is the best thing you can do. Or I'm going to get them on my thumb. Be careful doing that, but it's a single hook jig. You shouldn't have any problem whatsoever. Now, if you want to learn more about this awesome little jig, hey, make sure you go check this video out right here. Otherwise, questions, comments in the comment section below. Like it if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you ring that bell. Be part of the 100% Watch Squad, and you geeks rock.